Leafs talk. JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. Boy, the Boston Bruins have beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 7 straight times. And I got to tell you, I think you and I, we'll see how this show goes. I think this one meant different things to the two of us, just based upon our text. I will fully admit that I'm sour about this one. I hated
Johnny Leaf fan tonight. Let's go. Let me have it.
Can I tell you something? I actually think that Johnny Leaf fan was doing a little bit, probably a lot of the mental hurdles that the Leafs analyst was doing tonight, going, it's 50-48, even though these guys have beat the Leafs 7 straight times and they keep whooping their ass. It's meaningless. It's meaningless. It's meaningless. Well, I'm like that big old fat wrestling fan crying in the stands going, it's real to me, damn it. Regular season games are a test to me. That seemed real to me.
If regular season games are meaningless, boy, we got nothing for the last 7 years.
Yeah,
that's all we got, pal.
Oh, to me tonight, this is the way I'll set her up.
All right.
I thought tonight mattered because this team has beat they beat you 6 straight times.
Yeah.
They're your divisional rival. They scheduled a Stanley Cup celebration the night before your game with them. And I don't think that was a coinky dink. I think they looked at the schedule and said, screw these guys. We hate these guys. They don't know what this is about. We're doing it when they're in our building, especially since there is a good shot that we'll play them in the first round or at some point anyways in the playoffs. I hate the Boston Bruins. I don't like seeing the Boston Bruins have success. I don't like seeing them run around and have a bunch of joy. And I thought that they had all this talk before this game about how they've got the blueprint to beat Toronto and they just feel like they can defend against them and they can keep them out of the tough areas. And they sent that message out publicly. They gave the Leafs that bulletin board material. And how did the Leafs show up? By losing the game exactly the way that the Boston Bruins said they were going to do it. Like, this is Conor McGregor saying he's going to knock you out in the first round and then following through on it. Like, this matters. I'm sorry. I'm not going to pretend as though this doesn't make me feel a certain way about playing Boston in the playoffs, or that this is completely inconsequential and that, it's just going to come down to goaltending and coin flips. The Boston Bruins are the tougher team. They got more dogs. They play better in the tougher areas, and their stars can rise to the occasion. And that's the way it is. That's the way I'm feeling about it right now. How's that?
Fine. That is a fine opinion, which I will not disagree with anything you said there. Maybe the tougher part, considering there was 3 separate occasions where the Leafs were the first guys to drop their gloves. So maybe I'll disagree with you on that one a little bit.
Not the same to me.
I know, but I'm just saying, like there was a bit of that, but I will say that everything you said there is painfully accurate, and I can't really disagree with you on a lot of it. I think tonight was a pretty hard scheduled L. I will say that. I think that the Leafs had some good, like the first half of the first period. I mean, I don't know how many Leafs Bruins games I've watched in that building where the Leafs have absolutely got caved in the first 10 minutes of that game. That feels like that's just a rite of passage, and Jacob McCabe's cross-checking guys in the mouth, multiple guys in the mouth in the first shift. But I thought they did push back after that. I thought they responded. I thought they got themselves into the game. Mitch Marner scores that power play goal. It feels like they're in it. He has that puck land on his stick on a great pass from Simone Benoit. He doesn't shoot it in the net, and the game turns from there. They score on their chances. The game's over. But yeah, like it's hard to really disagree. It's pure ownership, bud. They've won 7 straight. They beat the Leafs in 3 straight playoff series. They have zero fear of any of the Leaf stars. The Leaf stars shrink in these games against the Bruins. We have a drop on Real Kipper and Bourne of Brad May saying, well, it's not good. And it's not good, but it's not a pretty situation. So I don't know where you want to go, but I really can't disagree with it.
Well, I get the position that some people are going to take on this, which is the Leafs are right there. And if Mitch Marner shoots it in an open cage, then maybe the Leafs, maybe they win that game. But to me, this is just ifs, buts, candy, and nuts, baby. Like the Leafs had opportunities. Who had the brain farts in this game, right? Like Leafs have an open cage. Marner doesn't rip it in. William Nylander, who is supposed to be getting up for these games and who is supposed to be just as good, if not better, than David Pastrnak, according to some people, turns a puck over when he's the last man back trying to do a toe drag at his own blue line and gives up a breakaway, which, by the way, I'd like Joe Wool to make one of those two saves tonight. Just I know it's a breakaway, but pretty soft shot. Would like for him to be able to make that play.
He thought he was going shelf and he fanned on it and he beat him 5-hole. It's an awful look.
It's a tough look. But
yeah,
what you've got John Tavares taking a dumb penalty from 200 feet from his own net. Like all the Leafs top guys that are supposed to be setting the tone are all making bozo plays. And the one guy that didn't really make one was a ghost again tonight in 34, Austin Matthews, who basically in these contests against Boston, they say, have what you want outside. You guys can play on the perimeter. If you want to come in here, we are going to lay the lumber and we are going to make you pay. And it really doesn't seem like the Leaf Stars are overly interested in going to those spots.
Yeah, they hate playing the Bruins. I think Marner has a pretty good record of scoring against the Bruins. I would say, I don't know what it actually is, but just over the last, I don't know what Matthews' numbers are against the Bruins, but to me, it just feels like he really doesn't enjoy these games. And it's, the temperature was rising in this game. It felt like the new guys that are here that are on 1-year deals are trying to kind of elevate it to getting a little bit physical, throwing their weight around. Guys are kind of chasing people around. And it's just the same old story where he just doesn't get mad ever. And like the outside of being he was not very good. I would say, in fact, he was bad. Or it's hard to be bad when you're really not even noticeable. Like he just really didn't have any moments where he popped off the screen to me. It's just, it's the same story. We can talk about it a million times. It just drives me crazy that his temperature never rises. He never gets mad. He's 6'3". I don't know how much he weighs. He's a big dude. Just lean on somebody, get mad. He just never gets angry. And this is the type of game where look at what their stars are like Marchand, who's running around, taking guys out, getting assists, getting in everybody's face, screaming at the refs, emotional the whole game. David Pastrnak, just doing what David Pastrnak does, scores a power play goal, annoyed, just hitting people in scrums, doing it. It's just such a huge juxtaposition. And this has always been the thing with the Leafs stars. That's like the curse, is that they don't really get angry. Tavares, he doesn't jump into that scrum. He's just sitting there watching Coyle, watching that scrum, doesn't really get in there. Willie doing what Willie does. Is just, that's the curse of these guys. And it just shows up in these emotional games versus the Bruins where it really doesn't seem like they want to be involved. That's what it comes down to.
For sure. And flat out, like the thing to me is the Leafs are an offensive team. We've mentioned this. That's supposed to be the identity of the group. That's what they did when they added the Domies of the world. And at one point in time, we're trying to go out and get Klingbergs, right? They need more secondary scoring. They need other guys throughout the lineup, but Matthews ripping goals. He's the greatest goal scorer of all time. They've got these star players. The only goal that they scored tonight was on a broken play on the power play, where Boston has kind of a boneheaded moment where instead of putting the puck in deep, they turn the puck over and it breaks Mitch Marner free. And again, he could have had the second one, but what were the dangerous chances that Toronto had tonight? Like if you're pointing to the shots tonight, you're out of your mind because everything Toronto had was on the perimeter. They were not dangerous. They were not threatening. They weren't getting deep position. Like, what was your number one moment that you would think about Austin Matthews from this game?
I don't have one, buddy.
Like, do you have one single memorable shift or moment or play or anything?
I can't. No, I can't give you one. I'm sorry.
Same.
Unfortunately, I really can't. And it's like, I feel it just, a lot of Leaf fans will defend him to the end. And I understand that. And I'm partly in that crew too, that, it's just a guy that's this good that plays for the Leafs and signed 2 separate contract extensions here. Like there's a part of me that defends him. And there's a part of me that also it's really the devil and the angel on both shoulders here, bud. It's like, you love him scoring goals. You love the way that it's just, he's on a trajectory for one of the all-time goal scorers wearing blue and white. But when it just looks like this in some of these big games against your division rivals, it hurts. Right?
To me, it's hard games against hard opponents where you got to go to hard areas.
Well, just look at the playoff series against the Florida last year. So
that's it.
He's been so brilliant all year. And I see a ton of talk about him there. There's a flu running through the room and maybe that's it. It's hard to play sick, but does he have the bubonic plague? How sick is he? He's out there.
The training staff coming in wearing those big
holy man. I get that you're sick, bud. We've all gotten through stuff sick. It's just a tough look. And you really there is a part of me, like I said to you, that it's a scheduled L, and I understand second half of back-to-back.
Sure.
And but the thing is, I liked the efforts from the non-stars tonight. And a lot of these, I thought Bertuzzi, Domi's looks like he's mad. Yarncroft's playing hard. I thought Bobby McMann looked big. Reeves, he's running into guys. It's just,
dude, can I interrupt you on this?
Yes.
I think this is what kind of drives me nuts about the way they continue to build this team. And Tree Living did it too so far at the deadline by adding the snarl, right?
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to get Labushkin and we're going to get Edmondson, like these nasty guys who will, and it's like, it's almost as though the GM is trying desperately to tilt the aggression of those guys by putting enough dudes around them that'll do it.
Yeah.
Right. We keep going, oh, they need the snarl and they need the nastiness and go and get the players. I like that stuff too.
Yeah.
But to me, it's almost like,
I love that stuff. In fact,
I do love that stuff. I did not love the McCabe cross-check to start the game. I just thought that was a bozo play. And I think that it's just incredibly selfish to do that, especially when the formula cannot be fall behind the Bruins and that you need that win on the road. And it would be a good statement for this team confidence-wise to beat them. But outside of that, I love the scrums. I love the way they stuck up for one another. I love Domi chasing guys around, fighting McAvoy. I love Bertuzzi with the lefts. But you know what I mean? Like it feels like they keep trying to transplant all these players onto the stars and going, look, we're getting all this stuff around you. Will you do it too? And then they're just like, no, we're not that guy.
We will not. You're not that guy, pal. But that one was, dumb. The second one, dumb. Bertuzzi, look at, watch Marchand here. Spears him right in the, what. And then he takes a huge dive like he always does. And he puts his hand over his head and then he screams at the ref like he's never done that to anybody. Like he's an elite rat. He would be every single Leaf fan watching this favorite player of all time if he wore blue and white. Like he's just that kind of guy. But I just, to finish the point on tacking the grit to the core. I mean, they've tried this like 4 or 5 different years. So you're going to need them to score a lot in the playoffs to make up for the lack of that. And that's what it's come down to. That's what it's always come down to. And sometimes that doesn't happen in the bigger ones. So maybe this year will be different, but I don't know.
You know me, man. I'm a old school hockey fan. I love big hits. I love scrums. I love fights. I got near emotional when Bertuzzi started sinking lefts here, where I love it. But it didn't move me the same way tonight, just from the standpoint of like, hey, how about you guys carry your way into scoring some goals? I'm over moral victories and wow, you're not afraid of Boston. It's like, cool. Who cares? I want to see you win the hockey game.
I think there's certain
results.
I think there's certain guys in this. I think there's certain guys in this team that aren't afraid of Boston for sure. I think there's certain that are. And I mean, I'm watching this fight here on Sportsnet Plus YouTube. I mean, this is straight from the Sudbury schoolyard, bud. Like this is tough. Like he's not like a straight up tough guy, but he'll fight you. He's scrappy and like he got a hold of him. Good grab. Look at that hair.
Great grab. Like, the grab is clean.
Great grab. Bing, bang. Just fed him. Like absolutely fed him. He didn't want to go him. I loved it. I loved that from him. I loved Domi trying to fight Marchand. I do like it. But you wish
I'm not saying I don't like it.
I know you're not.
In the game. It'd be nice
let me finish here. Like I like this. And then have your stars on top of these guys going out there and battling every shift, shoot 3 in the net. So it's a 4-4 game, right? Yeah. That's what you really hope for. And I guess that's what you're hoping for from 6 weeks from now, where you need the top half of the roster to score a lot. Like I said, that's the plan. You need the top half of the roster to score a lot and need the other half of the roster to kind of give you what they did tonight. Can we talk about Marchand a little bit?
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask you if you thought that the injury to Knies was intentional.
Of course it was.
Okay. Like I disagree.
You've watched hockey your whole life. He saw him the whole way. Knies didn't see him coming. Watch how far he comes. Bang. He saw him coming the whole way, got the hands up high, elbowed him in the mouth, made it look like you didn't do it on purpose. It's just vintage Marchand. And it's he does what he does. It's just classic. I'm not reinventing the wheel. Looking right at him, hands up, bang. Like, I don't know how you can say that's not on purpose. It's clearly accidentally on purpose situation. Gets him right in the mouth, knocks him out of the game. And to be frank, I think it's a really soft move that he doesn't fight Domi. Like, it's Max Domi. You're eligible to be fought. You took a run at one of the Leafs players, their rookie, knocked him out of the game, probably gave him a concussion, elbows him in the chops. Max Domi goes over there and asks him to fight. And the fact that he ends up on the ice covering his head again, it's a really soft look from Marchand, and he's just a total bluffer. It's a bad look. It really is. Sure. And I respect Marchand, man. I like the game. I get it. I understand what he does, but he's got to go in there. He really does.
I think that Brad Marchand is straight up far away above Max Domi, and he doesn't owe him a damn thing because he's a Hall of Famer, and Max Domi is a guy who's played on 4 or 5 teams, like trying to make a fit with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And like, I get it. If people don't want to give Brad Marchand the benefit of the doubt, I agree. Like, he's a rat. He's trying to get under your skin. He's a physical player. He plays on the edge. But I think that this is just a play where he braces himself better. He sees Knies earlier, but like, Matthew Knies is a 6'3" mutant. Brad Marchand is, 5'10", built like a bowling ball for sure. But I think it's a split-second bang play. I don't think it's a dirty play. I think it's maybe a penalty. Like it's a bit close to interference, but not even really. Like I don't know. I don't think this is a dirty play. Like I just don't.
Look how far he saw him coming.
I think that you are really discounting how fast that is happening. That's a second. Like literally look at the clock from when Marchand turns his head to when he just beats him to bracing for him. Like I don't really care either way. I don't think it's a dirty play. I guarantee you the league won't even look at it for a second.
Of course not.
Like
he's not going to get a suspension. McCabe might. He might get kicked out of the league for those cross checks. I don't know.
Yeah.
old Perros saw those and he's like, "Oh boy, it's time. It's time, honestly, baby. Let Perros cook. It's time."
So stupid because again, this is a situation where they already set the precedent of, well, technically he could have defended himself from that cross check in the face because it was in the game, and it's just like, the guys are dumbos. By the way, on that cross check.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
The Leafs absolutely did not lose this game because of the refs tonight, but I just don't understand how the refs screw that up and give Knies a penalty and give them a 5-on-3.
They butchered it. It's just be better. Be better. Like they got it way wrong. I don't know how you get it so wrong, but it's not really lost, but it was a bad call for sure.
No, but it was a horrible call, and it did help put them behind the 8 ball. Like
for sure.
It's a 4-minute penalty versus a 5-on-3, and maybe Boston scores in the 4 minutes, but like I just don't even understand how an officiating crew comes together and they can't figure that out. Like that they tag Matthew Knies with a roughing penalty. He's standing there looking shocked, and then you end up with a 5-on-3. It just asinine.
It's hilarious how literally the exact same thing happened later in the game, and the Leafs got the 4-minute penalty. Like, well, we learned from our last mistake, so you guys get not as big of an advantage as
they made a mistake there too. Bertuzzi's bleeding. Should have been 6 minutes.
Should have been a 6-minute penalty. Absolutely no question.
Well, they didn't get it right. They didn't learn. They just went. They did it slightly better.
Better. They got it slightly right. But what more can you ask for?
God.
It's hard job. It's fast job. It's hard.
I'm just saying, like, you know how reluctant I am to talk about referees, and they just do it every night where I go,
we haven't been reluctant. We haven't been reluctant recently, but we've been on ref talk every night here.
Tell me the night that I shouldn't have done ref talk.
No, that's what I mean. I'm joining you in it. I usually hate it, but yeah, that was a tough one for the refs.
Anyways,
no
what were you
question.
gonna say?
No, I just was going to go back to the Marchand thing about him being a Hall of Famer. Like, I mean, does that mean he doesn't have to fight anybody?
No, I just
like he can just run. Well, he can run around like a chicken with his head cut off and do dirty stuff and not have to fight. Like he's above that.
I think that he's above having to fight Max Domi or feeling like he had to answer. I don't think that was a play that he had to answer for. Like I just don't. Like I fundamentally disagree with you about
but like a lot of guys would have gone there. A lot of guys in the league would have gone.
Sure, but he doesn't. And he's Brad Marchand. He doesn't fight.
Yeah, it's just exactly. It's a really tough look for a guy that plays the way and acts the way he does. Okay. That in the third period of a 4-1 game where you're clearly going to win on the banner night for your team when all the boys are in town, that you won't drop the gloves with Max Domi. It's a tough look.
I guess I just look at the captain of the Boston Bruins who plays that way, and that I'd literally lose a limb to have that heart and soul transplanted onto Austin Matthews and criticize him for being like soft or not having a bad look. Like I don't agree. Like I said,
I'm telling you my opinion. It's a bad look.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just saying I don't agree. Like it's an agree to disagree situation. I thought that it was good on Domi to try to smush his face and go after him. It's like, to me, when you're Marchand, you play that way, then you are fair game for Max Domi's of the world to take runs at you and do that stuff to you. Yeah. You're not above like not getting cheap shotted. Like, here's
my Marchand impression. Anytime something bad's coming,
turtle, and dude, he does it every time too, where he lays on the ice. But it's embarrassing. That's part of the thing too, is where he's a rat and he gets under your skin and he doesn't.
I just think it's embarrassing. Kick him off the tour.
He doesn't give you the satisfaction. So we talked about the brain farts. We talked about the inability to go to rough areas. We talked about the Knies injury.
We got to have a Wall conversation.
Yeah, it's Joe Wool time. I basically almost got chased out of town for saying that this was going to be a goaltending battle and that I needed to see more from the kid who, is got 26 starts in the NHL. People came at me with the pitchforks like I was Frankenstein for even suggesting that he might not like that this was going to be an open competition. But he let in 2 bad goals tonight. You got to mix in a save. And now that's 3 games against the Bruins where he's given up 4 goals in each of the contests.
Yeah. And that to me is why it was a interesting decision to playing in both games, and why I think, I don't know. I hated this one here. It's a hard one to see, I guess, a bit of a screen, but he's small in the net like that. You know what oh God, not to go there, but God, that reminded me of Reimer with Chara shooting it in the net, talking about the 2011 team, but he just made himself smaller, goes in the top of the corner there. The breakaway one, I think he was expecting him to go high glove or whatever, and he just fluttered one along the ice, beats him, the other 2 or whatever. But yeah, it's 8 goals have entered the net in his 2 games against the team that you're going to play in the playoffs. Not good. So like you've said before, you think it's a clear battle, but you know who they want to win. I'm sure that they're pretty concerned about this right now because Sammy's been good. There's no question. He's been really good in his last 2 games. Loved him in the Rangers games. Thought he was really good last night for a moment with against the Sabres. But that's on a knife's edge too. So it's just I bet you this game probably shook him to the core a little bit in a lot of different reasons. But yeah, they need Wool to find it here a bit.
I also want to just restate that I believe in Joe Wool. I think that he's a good goaltender. I love his demeanor. I think that this has been 2 games now where he's looked a little shaky against Boston, and that worries me a touch, that these have felt like big games, and I don't love it. You noted it yesterday, and I'm sorry that I didn't hear you on it. I don't like when Wool plays the puck.
I didn't say it on the show. I texted it to you a few times and texted it to a group chat with me, you and Bourne. I've texted it multiple times to you. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I was just,
when you said that take back to me in the text, I was like, I've been saying this for like a week.
Maybe here's what I'm willing to think too, is that you may have incepted me as well, which is
fair. I take inception. I'm here for that.
Yeah. The inception take ended up happening. I just thought that, again, if you're going to beat Boston, you're going to need saves. And there's 2 of those in that game that you need. You flat out need. And he made a big pad save to start the game. And I don't think that this is I don't think that this is Samsonov's net right now where he has some incredible runway. I think that what I said all along was that while Samsonov's hot, you let him be the 1A, Wool's the 1B. You basically have a 50-50 split. But to me right now, you're given the Saturday night and the bigger games to Ilya Samsonov, and you're still trying to work Joe Woll in and build his confidence up and get him to a point where he was earlier in the season and where you feel like he's undoubtedly the guy. But as of right now, I don't understand the case of like he's undoubtedly the guy from, and again, the people that are making this case have seen him play 26 games in the NHL, which I don't understand it.
I still think he's a better goalie. I do, but it's been a rough start to him coming back here. So little concerning.
He was good in the first game that he came back.
Who did they play in that game?
That was the Arizona game.
Yeah, he was
really good. He was really good. And he made a bunch of key saves. I got full faith in Wool. I think both these guys are going to be playing well. I think that it's genuinely going to come down, in my opinion, to the final 2 weeks of the season. Like that's what I think you're hoping for if you're the Leafs, is that you're going back and forth and that there's a real chance you end up playing both guys in the playoffs. Like I don't think that's outside a realm of possibility. Also, if you're going to do positive spin on the goaltending, at least Boston didn't get a look at Samsonov and shatter his confidence again, because maybe they ended up doing that. So they didn't get a look, right? Maybe
that's why they they kept him away from there. They're like, you can have the Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens, Sammy.
Yeah.
There's probably something to that.
It's at least a little bit of a something, you know. Didn't get a look at him. Didn't get a look at him. Anything else from this game for you? Oh, I got one other thing.
Yeah. No, I kind of mentioned it in passing when we were talking about the lines, but Järnkrok's playing hard. I get it. He's playing way harder than usual. Like since he's been good this year, but he's going to the net and beating that puck to a square. Like he is chopping at the front of the net, skating hard, using his body. Like I said, probably my favorite Leaf tonight. I don't know if it's 100%, but like I think he was really good, and he has been good. He's been playing hard. He got the belt last night for some reason. I guess he was just because he's been playing hard and he's coming back and they like him or whatever. But been impressed with him, and I think he's really an important guy for this team.
So there's been a lot of Dubas dragging lately, and probably
that's a good one.
He might. There's a shot that he might be the worst GM in all of hockey. It's not outside the realm. He may have just turned Jake Gensel into Michael Bunting.
He
anyway,
loves this too, bud.
My God. It's just anyways, I fired some texts out to some people in Pittsburgh tonight, and I'll tell you that the confidence that when they first got him is wavering.
Yeah, I guess so.
So you got to give him credit for that signing because it's a really good one. But I agree with you. Järnkrok was awesome tonight. I thought that if you were doing who were JD's 3 favorite Leafs? 1, 2, 3 stars of the night. Yeah, Leafs 3 stars. Järnkrok is definitely one of them. I think Bertuzzi is one of them. And it's weird to say this, but I really like what Bush has given him. He's just solid back there. He's just steady.
Yeah. No, he's a steadying influence, no question. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I don't know. I feel bad about that Tired Brain podcast we did where I was like, I hate him. Oh, I hate him. Tanev, he's fine. He's fine.
I got to tell you.
Too many words that day. I'm just like doing words all the time. I have regrets on that take. No, but he's totally fine.
Brother, this is the industry, and this is what drives me. This is where I get in my feelings so hard because people will, like, you say something, they go, you used to say this. I talked for hours every single day.
I don't remember.
Of course, anything. I have to change my opinion on some stuff. Time moves forward and stuff changes. But that feeling of the instant regret for a take because either you were too cranky or you didn't have you wanted to be a contrarian. Somebody said something and it bothered you the wrong way, and you snapped the other way, and you go, God, I'd love to have that one back,
buddy. Yeah, it's just tough. But I like him, and I do like Edmondson.
Oh,
I think it's nice to have a nice big mean man in there. I don't think he's gonna light the world on fire clearly, but I think he would have been fit right in tonight in terms of clearing the front of the net and scrumming it up. I think he's a good one for the penalty kill. Kill needs work big time, especially you're gonna play this terrifying power play. The power play again tonight. They get the power play goal, but it's not really a power play goal. That 4-minute, they looked really bad. They had the other one where they could barely complete a pass. Willie's throwing saucers into nobody. It's just, they got to get the special teams figured out before the playoffs start, or else it's going to be a waste of 8 days or whatever. But
Nylander was just like careless with the puck tonight, man. Like really careless.
Can I ask you? Like,
I just want to finish on the Edmondson thing.
Yeah.
He's clearly coming in for Liljegren, who was dog awful again tonight. Like just he broke their backs. He's too soft to play against tough teams. Like it's obvious his confidence is shattered. I would be immediately shipping him out of town for whatever you could get, because I don't want to have to deal with the whole re-signing him thing. I keep getting, I texted a bunch of my nerd buddies, hey, you still in on Liljegren? And they're still standing firm. So he's still got his defenders out there. And I know there's concerns about this Leafs blue line and their ability to make a breakout pass, but like, guess what? That's supposed to be his game, is getting the puck out. Well, guess what? It's not really working. The penalty kill to me.
That was Bash Brothers, that clip of him getting. Just quickly on Liljegren.
Sure.
The Bruins own him. They own him. He's like, it's clearly he hates playing against these guys. He makes a ton of mistakes against them. You think about what happened with Marchand. He hates going into this building. They own him. That play in that power play where they're getting towards the end and it comes out to the sideboards, and I don't know who it was, just strengths him. And they're like, oh, he's holding the stick. It's like, just be stronger. Get the puck on the stick and get it out. You're a defenseman. You're playing the penalty kill. Your whole role there is to win that battle. And he just doesn't do it. And it comes right around right away. Bing, back of the net. You're down. Yeah, wow. Lily is -8 in his last 4 games against Boston. Okay, that's so my eye test is correct. They own him. But yeah, it's -7. Mistype. Way to go, Jobo.
The main thing that these two guys that you brought in are going to do for you is hopefully shore up your penalty kill. Like that, the stuff that you're seeing is you're going to be able to have Edmondson, who's a left shot D, with the right shot D of Lyubushkin, and you are desperately hoping that those guys are going to give you a jolt to your penalty kill. Like that, that's the main thing that I think people are missing. And yes, are they too left-handed? Yes. Am I concerned about their ability to make breakout passes? 100%. Do I think that was part of the reason that they lost in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year? Do I think it's been an issue for them this year? Like all across the boards, the answers are yes. I do not think that they built a perfect blue line here, but what I do think is that it's a better playoff blue line than the one that they had before. And yeah, I am a fan of Edmondson's game. I don't really have like overwhelming fears about it. If there was better options, I would have taken them. But yeah, they're really left shot heavy now. And now it feels like they're going back to Brody on the right side, which I thought we basically all figured out he should be playing on his left side. And
even on his left side, it's dipped.
But that's it. I think that there's going to be a pairing of potential. Like I think it's going to be Edmondson and Brody. I don't see another scenario. Like I don't like that's what it's going to be. And that feels like too high of a role for Edmondson.
The two, I just, God love Brody and what he's given them. But that to me is a subtraction that you could, like, if you could find a way to bring in one guy and have Liljegren and Brody go out, like it just, they're just not the same play. Like Brody is just not the same guy. And it's tough to watch. He just doesn't retrieve the puck the same way he used to. That was his like big skills, that he would go back, get the puck for you, make a safe play. And the guys are just eating him up along the boards now. Guys just gain the zone against him so easily. It's just there's not going to be anybody that's going to change their fortunes at this deadline, clearly. And I got to ask you what I was going to ask before we go. Like, do you believe that the Leafs can beat the Bruins in a series?
Yeah, I think they could. Like, I don't think it was like 52-48 or whatever they were saying on the broadcast tonight, where it's like it's a coin toss. I don't believe that. I understand like the gambling math behind these things. What
would the line be going into the series?
Boston has won 7 straight games and they would have home ice advantage. And so I would think that Boston would be like closer to -200 favorites and that there would be some value on the Leafs. The Leafs clearly have the ability to beat that team. Like, but I don't know what is supposed to, like, I understand being a fan, and I know sports are different for everybody what they are. Like for some people, they just want to bitch all the time and they just want to vent constantly, right? They come here because they want to hear us be like mad and they're mad too. And I think that's fine because I actually think that sports are supposed to be kind of a healthy way to vent. I understand some people that just want to be entertained and they love the players and they love the team and they ride or die with every win and loss. And
that's fine too.
That's what I'm saying. They don't like negativity. I don't like when either side of it is like constantly berating the other about how they need to be as a sports fan or like what's a bad sports fan and a good sports fan. Usually the only one is the one who's saying that. But I don't really see how it's anything other than complete fan irrationality right now to look at 7 games in a row to Boston and the way that these two teams play each other and how the Bruins have just kind of obliterated Toronto's biggest strength, which is their star players, and say, well, it's a coin toss. And if the Leafs just get some saves, like,
I agree. I mean, the best argument I have is that like sports are weird. So sometimes,
you reach deep in your bag. Hold on, I got something for this.
No, but like sports are weird. They've won. The Leafs had lost 7 straight to the Bruins, and they've put them out in the first round. They're weird. I don't know, but outside of that, I don't know. I don't know.
If these two teams play each other, I don't like making predictions. I think Bob McKenzie's got it right with the whole like don't make predictions because first of all, who cares? And it's kind of asinine. But my only thing is I don't think that the Leafs would be favored, and I think that Boston's clearly got something on them right now. If you say you've got the blueprint against the team and you let Luke Fox run that article across Sportsnet.ca and all the Leafs get to pin it up in the dressing room, and then you sit out the Stanley Cup celebration and you're all mad in your dressing room. and then you come out and they beat you the exact same way that they always do. It's like
it's the same score as on Monday.
Yeah, like
4-1. Dial it up.
Like I can't ignore it. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't ignore it. I just got to see what my eyes are telling me. And that's what they're telling me. So anyway,
right.
We'll be back on Saturday night.
I'm all good. Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We went long on this sucker. I got a 3-hour show tomorrow too. So I don't know how you guys escaped. Like, I don't know how Real Kipper and Bourne, our biggest hockey show, ends up staying 2 hours. Every other show expands. It's like, I need a summit on this. Like, I'd like an explanation from some people as to what went down. But I've got guests that are coming in studio all day long. I'm really excited for it. So stay tuned to that tomorrow. Sportsnet's got you covered all day long. I think if there's something of like crazy consequence, maybe we'll jump on and do an emergency pod. But if it ends up being a depth forward, like it looks like the addition is, then
they're not doing the Nick Dowd. Not doing the Nick Dowd emergency pod, bud.
Nick Dowd would be way better than what I'm expecting.
Yeah, for sure.
Nick Dowd is like.
Can I tell you what I'm expecting?
Yeah.
Nothing.
No,
I don't think they're
going
to do anything.
They're getting it forward.
You think?
Yeah. And I've been trying to get on my,
Oh boy, here we go.
You want? Hey,
got a scoop for me? Scoopy?
No, I don't have a scoop. But I did text a couple people in the know on Edmondson and on Parayko because there's a lot of Parayko buzz about the back, and I talked to 2 people who both gave back with like they wouldn't have given the contract if the back was that bad. Both. So
okay. So what you're saying is trade for Parayko.
I'm a little bit more in the trade for Parayko than I was before. But yeah, whatever. And the other thing was that I got back universal praise for Edmondson as a teammate and just as like literally one guy wrote me back saying is completely as advertised. Like game and personality are like a pure match.
Okay.
So excited for that.
Feels like a Colton Parayko trade with how much millions moving and people that have to approve these sort of things. Feels like it's going to be a bit of a stretch before 3 p.m. tomorrow, but tune in to the JD Bunkis podcast to find out if it happens.
3 hours, baby. 3 hours.
Woo, let's go.
3 hours, dog.
Only 2
3
for
hours,
me, baby.
Yeah, 3 hours. Oh, so sick. I'm by myself too. There's 3 of you guys. Like, got a real crack squad running things here. It's like they're doing great.
Let's wrap it up before we lose our jobs.
All right. See you guys later. Please talk. Subscribe, review, follow Twitter, Instagram. Hit the thumbs up. We'll see you Saturday night.